Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia 152 Lemillion. Now this chapter, if you haven't read it, please read it. This chapter was dope. This is probably one of the best chapters of this, probably of this year entirely, like including One Piece and all them. This chapter was dope in terms of just what the character, how much it developed me. It was so good. I can't even speak properly because of how good this chapter was. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure what the rest of you, because I'm making this review like only 2 minutes ago I read the chapter, but I don't even know what anybody else thinks of it. It was such a good chapter for me because the theme of this chapter was different. It's similar to what we've seen with Deku before, but it's one of those chapters where the theme was power isn't everything. That whole Plato thing of the measure of a man is what he does with power, but power comes in so many different forms, and people can utilize it in so many different ways. And here we see our boy Mirio with his power, and spoiler alert, alright, just if you haven't read it, switch quick time, but we see our boy Mirio with his powers taken from him. He's powerless now. He's reduced of his quirk. He's been taken, his quirk's been taken away from him. I can't even speak properly. His quirk's been taken from him, and he can't do jack shit. And he continues to ball like the baller he is, Mirio. And I didn't actually ever notice that he has 1 million across his chest, just another thing that I thought you guys might have noticed before me. But yeah, so let's go through the chapter. So the first thing we know is that it wasn't an important point, but I just want to go through it anyway. But using Eddie's power, overhaul Chisaki and his crew have made 5 bullets over like the space of a month, because it takes ages to utilize Eddie's power and to condense it in like a bullet and to filter it out and all that type of stuff, because they don't have the necessary the necessary equipment. They don't have all the scientific stuff they need to actually filter out whatever they need to filter out and then extract the quirk from like her blood samples or whatnot. So they've only got 5 bullets, and then the best part of this chapter for me was the inner monologues we get and the thoughts we get from each individual character in this entire chapter, and it made it golden. This chapter was legit. So we see Nemuto first, the guy who is Chisaki's kind of right hand man kind of thing. He's there, and he kind of knows the most about Chisaki. And Nemuto's just there, and he's like, where do I shoot? That was the end of last chapter. Where do I shoot? Well, we knew he was going to shoot at Eddie, but we didn't get to see this part, which is it just precedes what happened at the end of last chapter. So in this, he's thinking, okay, I've been given the gun, but I can't shoot at friggin' Mirio because he can phase through things. I can't shoot at him, otherwise I'll probably get Chisaki. And then he's just thinking, and he only has like a split second, less than a second to think of this. This is all instinct almost. And then he makes the awesome decision, and the realization hits him. You can see in his eyes when he's just like, whoa, oh shit, and you realize he's gonna shoot at Eddie, and it's awesome from his character, because after everything Mirio has said, Nemuto knew. He was like, this guy's gonna save Eddie no matter what happens, no matter what we try to do. He's gonna try and save he's a hero, that it's in him. And he out of everyone in the whole of My Hero Academia, I mean, we know that what's his name, All Might and Deku, we know they're like the in terms of the character of a hero, they possess probably the best attitude, the best willingness to save people and stuff. But no one can top Mirio. Mirio is just next level in that sense. So they knew he was gonna save Eddie. Then we could get Mirio's point of view, where he's understanding shit. Nemuto's gonna shoot at Eddie. And he's understanding that Nemuto is going to go after her because of both the direction of the shot, well, the way he's pointing the gun, and because because of Eri's reaction, you know, her closed eyes, she's gritting her teeth, she's bracing herself for pain, and Mirio identified already that's her kind of learned response to pain. She's gonna grit her teeth and do all that type of stuff. So then we have, and this is the part of the chapter where it sealed it for me, Mirio's going to lose his powers. I was like, yo, we're done. Mirio's gone, and I really didn't want him to lose his powers. I'll come on to that later, but you guys let me know what you guys think of that. But Mirio's flashbacks was when I was like, yo, he's gonna lose his powers. We're done. So you see this, and the flashback was pretty heartbreaking. I mean, like, didn't cry or nothing. I'm just saying, but I'm expecting a bunch of people out there did. We see Mirio's flashbacks of him learning to control his quirks. His quirk, we see him failing. being saved by people because he probably phased through the bridge and then he like landed in some deep ass water, probably couldn't swim for very long. We see him conversing with his dad, who's just he looks exactly like he does. You know, he's got the he's strangely drawn in his eyes. His face looks plasticky. His hair looks weird. It's just a black version of Tintin, basically, the hair. But we see him conversing with his dad about the difficulty of controlling his quirk and how his dad gave up on becoming a hero because of it. And then Mirio's like, nah, you know what, Dad, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna persevere. And that's Mirio. If you were to describe Mirio in one word or in several words that basically mean the same thing, unyielding, persevering. You know, oh my god, obstinate. This guy is just, he's just too much of a boss. He's relentless. Mirio is straight up relentless. So yeah, we see all that. We see him entering UA for the first time. You know, he obviously, if you enter a school like that, you'd be gushing out your ass. So then we see him training all day, and then becoming part of the big three and stuff, and then realizing that, you know, after 17 years of not being able to control my quirk properly and training, I finally had some taste of success. So then we see what Mirio is without his quirk, and I come back to that quote at the beginning. The measure of a man is what he does with power, which is, I think it's Plato. But we see here which different types of power a man can use or a person can use. So Mirio is quirkless. So what else does he have? We've already seen him using his brain. He's very smart. We see him basically using his fists more readily than he was before, because now he's in desperation mode. He needs to protect Eri, but he can't do it with his quirk. And basically, then we see his smarts, his fists, and then an unending well of pride and courage and balls. This guy, I mean, like, oh my god, he fought for what was 5 minutes, but a third of the battle without his quirk, all the while protecting Eri from their attacks. Because what I assume was happening was Overhaul and Nemuto realized, yo shit, now he's without his quirk. If we attack Eri, we can take him out easy. So I assume they were just trying to get their attacks in the direction of Eri, and all the while, for 5 straight minutes, we have our boy Mirio just protecting Eri, and you see him near the end. He's been impaled through the leg, not through the gut, but towards the gut, and he's just basically stood there, kind of hanging on these little like stalactites and stuff that Chisaki has made, and he's just waiting there to die. And then right at the end, our guy Deku comes right through the wall. So this is Deku's time to shine. But it's kind of like out with the old and in with the new. We see Mirio there waiting for someone to basically save him, and he's quirkless. And then we see Deku come in with his just flying through the wall with his one for all. And so it's like, this chapter was so good. But let's actually talk about like the chapter overall. So I really hope there is some way of reviving Mirio's quirk, because he's too good of a character for him to have lost his quirk, and we've already lost All Might. But that was always we were always waiting for that, because All Might was eventually going to have to hand over the torch to Deku anyway. But Mirio, I didn't want him to have to lose his power at such a time where Deku's still learning, and he can still provide so much information to Deku, and he can learn so much more himself from Sir and everything like that. So it's just sad for me to see Mirio lose his power in such a way. But we did get to see him more than anyone else display how much of a hero he is just innately, and how much of a hero he has become, because he had nothing left in his tank, and he just popped it. He just freaking drew out from tomorrow. It's some fairy tale level shit, but it wasn't an ass port. This was legit. This is how you do a fight where someone's getting their ass kicked because they've lost all their energy or their powers. So that was really good. But like I said, I hope there's some way of Mirio reviving his quirk, because for me it seems cheap for Deku to make his way to the top or to be the best, not because he's better than everyone else like All Might was, but because Mirio lost his abilities. But then again, it is also more realistic that the best heroes will also come across the best or the worst villains. So therefore, you will lose out on competition. So the amount of people that were probably competing against All Might to be the best, apart from Endeavor, that probably died along the way, is probably immensely high. We don't know how many people were competing with All Might or just died along the way. So it makes it more realistic, but I would have preferred to have seen Mirio be at the top a little bit longer at least, and give Deku his time to grow. But this is really pushing Deku to get stronger and stronger and to learn to control One for All. Mirio's character this chapter exemplifies why I've always had this vibe, and I think everybody's had this vibe of why they've liked him and why I've liked him, and it's basically because he's just such a solid character. Like I said before, relentless, unyielding, everything. He doesn't give up, and this is the correct way to not have someone give up. Learn from this, Hiromashima. Learn from this. So the characters, like I said before, the characters I like are the ones who have never-ending faith in themselves. But there's a right way to do it. He had faith in himself that he wouldn't he wouldn't give up and that he'd continue to go on. And then the faith in himself part though was when he lost the quirk, which is a big part of him. He continued doing what he was doing. He continued being what Mirio is, instead of just like doing an Ichigo, oh shit, I don't know what I am, all that kind of. I was like, I don't give a shit. You need to. He just accepts what he has right now, and he makes use of it completely. So it was so good. This chapter was really well done. Yes, the characters I like I said, the ones that even if they lose, they'll get back up, fight tooth and nail, and just carry on going. Now, in terms of next chapter, I don't see how Deku's gonna really. I mean, Chisaki's all beat up from what Mirio was doing to him. Mirio kicked the shit out of him while he had, even without his quirk, he beat the living shit out of Chisaki. But Deku still has Nemuto to fight against, and Nemuto still has 4 shots, we assume. We don't know what he was doing while in that 5 minutes of time that we didn't see, where Chisaki and Mirio were kicking the shit out of each other. So Nemuto still presumably has 4 shots. Deku can't phase through anything, so if it hits him, he loses his quirk permanently as well. Now Deku can break Chisaki or overhaul, but Chisaki can dismantle him. So it's we have a physical fighter and we have someone who's the best. His quirk is probably the best at negating a physical fighter. So we'll see what happens there. But Deku also has to protect both Mirio and Eddie because Mirio looks like he's knocking on death's door at the moment. He's running on empty. He's got nothing left in his tank. I doubt it anyway. Just judging by his character, and like I've said before, unyielding, just that perfectly describes him. Mirio might just straight up grab Eddie in all the confusion and run out the hole that Deku's made. But what we need right now, and we saw Sunny to waking up in this chapter as well, we need backup. We need backup big time because Mirio and Deku ain't gonna cut it. I mean, Deku he can knock the shit out of Chisaki and Nemuto, but their quirks and the bullets especially they don't suit Deku, and he's at a disadvantage here. So let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm giving this chapter a straight 10. This chapter was good. This chapter was so good. Let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a bit.